Dead Poet Society versus Antigone reoccurring theme. Individual conscience versus public authority. In the Greek tragedy Antigone and in the film Dead Poet Society, they portray the conflict individual conscience versus public authority. This conflict is shown through the development of Antigone, Ismene, Creon, and Hymen in the drama Antigone, and the schoolboys in the Dead Poet Society. Antigone, Ismene, Creon, and Hymen all show individual conscience. They stay true to their throughout the play, which lead to the actions they take. In the film, the boys had very different conscience before and after Keating began working at their preparatory school. The public authority limits the actions that the characters are supposed to follow in order to have coming of senses and realize what just and unjust on their own. The characters in both medias choose to defy these authority figures and stay true to their beliefs. These defying actions lead to repercussions the figures issuing the rules didn't account for. Antigone, individual conscience. Antigone to abide to the god's law and bury her brother. Ismene wants to support Antigone, but is worried about the consequences she will face. Creon, he feels bad for having to kill Antigone, so he leaves it up to the gods. Hymen, he believed he had to obey his father, but then later supported Antigone and wanted to free her. Antigone, public authority. Antigone, she was aware of decree, abided by the god's law, to kill any person who tries to bury Polynices, but she buries him anyway. Ismene, Creon's decree stopped her from helping Antigone bury Polynices. She wanted to abide by the state's law even though she supported Antigone. Creon, he made a choice to exercise his power and issue a decree to stone anyone who disobeyed him and bury Polynices. Hymen, he thinks he has no choice but to obey his father. He decides to fight the decree and tell his father Antigone is looked as a hero for abiding by the god's law. He fights his father and tells him to listen to his people instead of his pride and free Antigone, leading to Antigone's death. Supporting quotes. The first quote talks about how Antigone wants to bury Polynices instead of leaving him in the field where Creon says that he should be, because he banned anyone from burying Polynices, but Antigone wants to abide by the law and bury him anyway. The second quote talks about how Ismene is upset about her brother, but she does not want to bury him because she wants to abide by the law instead of face consequences. The third quote talks about how Creon feels bad about killing Antigone and that he knows that he is guilty. The fourth quote talks about how Hymen says that even though he is Creon's son and he supports him, he shouldn't kill Antigone. Dead Poet Society, individual conscience. Before Keating, the boys abided by the rules and would go through their classes without questioning their professors and deans. After Keating, the boys realized the deeper meaning of life and that they only had a short life. Some decided to try new things at the expense of breaking the rules for love, dreams, and passion. Public authority. Before Keating, all the teachers valued tradition and taught everything by the book. There was no creativity in their teaching. After Keating, some teachers were now recognizing the importance of creativity and seizing the life like Keating was teaching his students. The dean saw this creativity as an attack on the school's tradition and fired Keating and reprimanded the boys. One boy, Neil, had an extremely concrete life path enforced by his father. Neil wanted to venture into other areas of life, but with every attempt was reeled back by his father. After getting a taste of Keating's carpe diem outlook on life, Neil wanted to be something different. He decided to defy his father and act in a play. Hoping his father would realize his passion, Neil performed against his father's wishes, similar to how Antigone defied Creon. His punishment was to be put into military school. Neil felt alone, as if he could never do what he wanted. Due to this oppression, Neil decided to commit suicide and accept death. Movie quotes. In the first quote, Neil wants to follow his father's commands and knows his only option is to do what he wants, before Keating was a teacher. The second quote talks about after Keating was teaching him, Neil wants to experience life for himself and not follow his father's path.